I might have lost my motivation if I didn't have like a tutor who was constantly pushing me and also was like, "You're doing great."
I have a very simple question for you. What was that one moment that you think, Ankita, that was the moment then it all started making sense to me?
The huge gaps, like every time like I would not study for days and then pick something up, it would feel like starting from scratch every time and there was like no real progress.
So you're somebody who is a real example of group plus one-on-one. And can you tell me how did you find the whole strategy, the way it was done? What was it that you felt as different? What were the good points about group or one-on-one? How they were different?
I don't know like if this helps anyone. Like even tried practicing more with ChatGPT. Like I would give a prompt at that like, okay, I'm going to speak a monologue, interrupt me with more and more follow-up questions so that I can practice giving those answers right on spot.
I feel speaking has always been the weakest point for everybody, including us, because speaking is something that is the hard nut to crack, and it takes a lot of time to conquer that. Because rest all three, like we get time to think.
Before I had joined the classes, I was lacking discipline. I was lacking like I didn't know what I need to focus on. I didn't know what my problem areas were. Every session like she would give me the feedback. Like the sessions some days would be challenging, but then at the same time she would also make sure that I know that I have my good points, I have my weak points, this is what you need to work on. And the constant support, it was all her.
Today, I am super excited to share with you all a success story of proud student of Learn French with Anks, Harsimran. 8 months ago, Harsimran decided to find an institute because she was doing a lot of self-prep and it was not going anywhere. Every day, second day, third day, whenever she used to pick up a book, she used to feel, well, I don't know what to do, which grammar to do, how to work on the pronunciation. And that's when she decided to join an institute. And guess what? We got lucky to have her because she was a phenomenal student. She joined our group classes and from there on, she was moved to one-on-one classes to work on her TCF specific strategies. So this is Harsimran, guys. I present to you all an inspiring story of a girl who cleared the TCF Canada just within 8 months. Not in first attempt, she had missed speaking in her first attempt, but let's hear from her what went wrong. If she was prepared, then what was the reason that she missed speaking in her attempt and what she did to overcome that, how she finally got CLB 7, what were her strategies, what resources she used, and also what was her daily routine like. Most importantly, what was exact mindset that she did not have to take tons of attempts and she cleared everything just within the right timeline and of course got the dream come true. This is Ankita Agrawal. I'm TEF cum TCF Canada coach expert. I live in Toronto, do help tons of people to make their dream come true by making them learn French. Please subscribe to the channel, comment if you would like to know more about Harsimran's journey, and of course like the video, do share for those who need. Let's get on to the video. First of all, grand congratulations, Harsimran. It has been a tremendous journey and you've been an excellent student of Learn French with Anks. So I would definitely would like to just not just congratulate you today, would like to actually celebrate this moment of success because I know what you've gone through and I have seen your journey. It was just phenomenal. To start with, how do you feel? How do you like, are you able to really absorb it?
I feel relieved. I feel like a big burden like has been removed from my shoulders. I feel the timeline or like I have to like get it done before this. So I feel relieved and like a big stress is gone. So yeah.
True, I totally
Absorbing
agree.
it in. It's still
Absorbing. It's still processing.
it's still processing. Yeah.
It's still processing. I totally get that for sure.
Yeah.
Because you're somebody who joined us as complete beginner. And I was actually going through our chat, your first message. So I realized like, oh my God, like her first class could be around 1st March or something.
Yeah.
And she ended up everything by end of October. So it was such a short span of time and you nailed it like a pro. Wherein, of course, like if when I see something, I might as well feel it's a scam. Like, oh my God, one cannot clear as a complete beginner, no French exposure, zero, and nailed exam with such a grand score. So when that happened, I have a very simple question for you. What was that one moment that you think, Ankita, that was the moment then it all started making sense to me? That I knew this is the strategy that is working or that will work, that that made this dream come true.
I feel like I feel like there wasn't like one particular moment, but I think once I started responding in French
Mm,
without like having to translate every time in my head, like that was a huge moment for me. Like even though I feel like when I first started doing that, like my sentences were not perfect, it was like a bit messy and like I made a lot of mistakes, like obviously, but then once I started speaking naturally without having to like think about it a lot, without having to make sure that I did the grammar correctly, once I was just fluent,
mm,
then
yeah.
I feel like that was more of like, okay, like I'm making some progress, like this is actually working. And then I feel like before that, every time I spoke, it was like I'm doing some kind of math in my head. Like first I'm thinking the answer in English and then I'm like translating it and then check if like the grammar is correct and then like nervously speak something. So
Mm,
it was very exhausting at first, but yeah, once
mm,
like that was fixed and once I was like
mm.
stopped having to translate, that moment was like, okay, like this is working.
Yes, that I totally understand because that's how we all start. Like we start thinking in English or our native language and
Yeah.
then starts understanding the strategy. So, can I ask you that what was that way? What was the technique or strategy that you used to reach to this point? So, because it's a very draining process, stressful process, and you have done it in such a less months. So, what is it that you've done? Did you used to like write a lot, read a lot, speak a lot, practice a lot? What exactly was your strategy?
I feel like there's like nothing like not a something special that I can tell everybody. It's just
Mm,
the simple thing, consistency.
mm,
Like that made a big difference for me. Like before I joined these classes, I tried doing
mm,
it by myself, like on and
mm,
off. And
mm,
then the huge gaps, like every time like I would not study for days and then pick something up, it would feel like starting from scratch every time and there was like no
mm,
real progress. So I feel like just studying for hours, but just showing up regularly, even if like
mm,
doing a short session or like listening to a podcast while I'm doing other stuff around the house. If
mm,
I'm like busy during the day, I can't just sit
mm,
and study. Somehow like including something French in my day.
mhm,
And then that made like a huge difference when I stopped feeling like, okay, I'm starting from zero every time I sit down. But like
mm.
once there was this routine, instead of this, it wasn't anymore like this big intimidating task that I had to do in the day. It was just like a regular day-to-day thing. Then yeah, that's when I feel like I noticed real progress.
You noticed real
Yeah.
progress. And for this, Harsimran, because the format of your classes was very different. Like when you started, it was started as a bridge classes for you,
Mm.
and then we went to a group class with Samira ma'am for A2. You had 3 to 4 people in the group, and then B1 classes. Again, you had 3 to 4 people in the group, and then again back to one-on-one with just Muskan ma'am. So you're somebody who is a real example of group plus one-on-one. And can you tell me how did you find the whole strategy, the way it was done? What was it that you felt as different? What were the good points about group or one-on-one? How they were different? Because you have tasted both and you have scored excellently, so amazing. So you're the right example.
Honestly, I feel like the whole journey, it was all like very adaptable. Like when I needed group classes, when I needed to build that routine, a classroom atmosphere like helps more when you have like other people in the class who are like learning the same thing, you're interacting with each other. And then that helped. And then once I was over the grammar part, once I was over the B2 part, then I needed like one-on-one. I feel
Mm,
like feedback and more individualistic approach. So I feel like the whole process was very adaptable according to what I need, how I think, and how what are the things that I need to work on. So yeah, Samira ma'am and just Muskan ma'am, like both of them helped a lot with it, and the whole like I think doesn't matter like group classes or individual classes, like both of them were super interactive. But it just depends on like what you need at that time. It was for me personally, I felt like group classes were a better option for me because
mm,
sometimes in individual class you can it you can be like the only person who's involved in this when as compared to like when there's other people learning the same thing. It helped me more with like grammar, vocabulary, and all of that. I was learning from not just the teacher but like other people in the class as well. And then after that, yeah, and then it when the need was to be like more just tell me my mistakes and
Yeah.
my fix my approach, and then the one-on-one was a great.
And give you the right resource,
Yes,
make you do what you should be doing. Yes,
yes.
definitely. In fact, when I was a learner, I also chose something like a group with many other institutes, in fact. But my group experience, honestly, Simran, was not great, because I have had 20 people and I did not have a chance to speak at all. So I kind of did not like the group class in my during my journey. How was yours?
Yeah, I feel like that made a big difference that I only had like 2 to 3 people. Um, yeah, it
Yeah.
was maximum, it was 3 people during
Hmm.
the group at the time, and I feel like that's the right amount for it to be interactive, but at the same time, everybody gets the attention that they need and get the feedback that they need. But yeah, in 20 people, I don't think that's gonna help individual people. Yeah, it's yeah.
Yeah, that is surely not the case. But I remember also at the same time that when we spoke in November after getting your first speaking result, so it was little shocking for both of us that you could not make to the speaking while you had such a phenomenal score for the rest of the three. So what went wrong in speaking, you think?
Honestly, I feel like at that point, like speaking was like still my weakest skill. And like I understood French, but under the pressure in the exam room,
Yeah.
I was trying to use good vocabulary, good connectors, and while keeping in mind all the arguments and all the ideas that I had to present. And then the interruptions came. So like I was not, I feel like prepared to give those spontaneous answers to like I was prepared for a monologue and follow-up questions, but in my head, like, okay, that was it. That
Yeah.
that was gonna be it. But then I got a lot of interruptions during my monologue that messed up my whole routine, I feel like. And then yeah, I was not prepared for that. And then that was a big wake up call. And after that, that's what I worked on most. Like more I even I don't know like if this helps anyone, like even tried practicing more with chat gpt. Like I would give a prompt at that, like, okay, I'm
Mhm.
going to speak a monologue, interrupt me with more and more follow-up questions
Wow.
so that I can practice giving those answers right on spot. And also, I was losing track of my thoughts when someone was interrupting me again and again because I was pressuring myself so hard to be like, stick to the vocab, stick to the connectors, you have to do this. So, yeah, and then before the second exam, all that practice to make sure like I have it organized in my head, and then if someone interrupts me, I can easily answer that and go back to my track of to like what I was saying. So yeah, that's what I worked on. But yeah, I was not ready for like what came my way there. Like I didn't know, but yeah, and then I just needed some more preparation, I feel like.
Yeah, I get it. And speaking actually, not just yours, Harsimran, I feel speaking has always been the weakest point for everybody, including
Yeah.
us, because speaking is something that is the hard nut to crack, and it takes a lot of time to conquer that. Because rest all three, like we get time to think, but the
Yes.
speaking is like somebody's judging us, and
Yes,
then
exactly.
they're correcting our errors, so we don't have to do that. Vocab
And
pressure,
we can't just
argument.
go back and like fix something or just edit it. Like what's done is done, and then you're yeah.
Yeah. No, of course, and we cannot serve the platter also sometimes. Like for example, like just be Ankita. No, 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 Chama pel Ankita. No, 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 same was Ankita. So we can't
Yeah.
keep doing that. So I totally understand that. And you're right. We just have to prepare it strategically and taking maybe the anxiousness little away, and
Yeah.
that's how we kneel. Right. So Harsimran, coming from a complete beginner background to the CLB 7 in such a less time, and you're a working professional, and I know how busy you are. So I want to understand like how your routine used to be, because with work, with full-time French, full-time work, it's difficult to manage. So what was your success story secret?
Honestly, my routine was pretty flexible. Like it wasn't something strict that I was following.
Hmm.
I would like try to study at least 2 hours on my working days outside the session. So I took 3 sessions every week. That's what I continued till the exam. And then on my days off, I would try to put in like 5 to 6 hours. And I feel like what made a big difference for me was that before I had joined the classes, I was lacking discipline. I was lacking, like, I didn't know what I need to focus on. I didn't know what my problem areas were. So, yeah. And then once I joined the classes, I feel like I got the right strategy. So it was
Mm.
easy to have a schedule and stick to that. I would so that I know that this is what I did in my last class, and this is the feedback I got. This is what I need to work on, and then I would try to work on the next day and then before the next class. And then for like specific module, I feel like after B2, I started focusing more on speaking and writing, and
Mm.
reading and listening. I would just do it like maybe twice a week. And then once the exam was booked, which was like more than a month before, then I started doing like everything regularly.
So did you take like a mock, like proper 3 hours thing, writing, reading, listening, speaking, everything? Or that was not done? Or did you write proper 1 hour by time
I
of?
I did everything, but separately. I did writing 1 hours, and I
Mm.
did all the sample tests for
Mm.
reading and listening that I had. I don't
Mm.
think I ever did like a whole 3 hour session, but I did
Mm.
for every module separately. I did like do everything with a
Mm.
timer and writing all the tasks together in 1 hour. Yeah,
That is wonderful because that is 1 hour. I think it's very much a big task, at least in the exam.
yeah.
And in the exam, were you comfortable writing 1 hour? And was it a pen and paper or computer based?
No, it was a computer based, and yes, I think I was able to like save like 5-10 minutes in the end to go back and like see if I did make any mistakes. So yeah, it I think eventually I was comfortable by that point.
Very nice. And did you
Yeah.
do all three tasks in a sequence? Task one, task two, task three, or did you jump? Started with task two, writing, task two, task one, or all in sequence?
As in the exam or when I
Exam, in the exam.
no, everything was in sequence. So
Okay.
reading, listening, and then
No, in the
writing.
writing. So in the writing, we have
Oh,
three
right.
tasks. Did you start like task one and task two like
Yes,
this?
I did everything in the sequence.
Sequence. So there was no not like going backward because some people prefer that and I can't do that way. I
Honestly, I
prefer
never tried it that way, so I don't know. Maybe it works for some people, but for me, I
yeah.
did it that way.
That way. Okay. And just few more questions quickly, like a rapid fire.
Yeah.
Do you think you would have taken TEF? It would have been better, or you happy with TCF? Of course, you cleared, so I know the answer now.
No,
But
I
still,
am 100% happy with TCF. I've known some people who have taken the TEF, and I've not heard like good. Like it's. I don't think I was good with TCF. I would, even if I had to go back, I would always do TCF again.
TCF again, and it's
Yeah.
easy and it's better for you for us. Yeah,
Yeah.
agreed. And then what was the toughest module for you in the whole journey?
Speaking, 100% speaking.
I
Yeah.
know that. What was the easiest module for you? You're like, this is my favorite. I don't
Yeah,
ever have to put the efforts.
I think it was reading. Whenever I was tired and I just didn't want to, I was like, okay, I'll just do one test of reading. Like I don't need to put much effort into that. So yeah, reading was like I feel like the easiest for me.
Right. And which moment were like your favorite when you were studying? Like, for example, when you used to take classes, there must be days when you must have felt that, oh, this was a great class, or when you must have felt, no, I did not do well. So how you used to like motivate at that time when you did not do well, and how you used to pep up how you used to pat a shoulder, like, have a pat on your shoulder. Oh wow, I did great today.
To be very honest, Just Muskan did that for me. Like every time, like every session, like she would give me the feedback. Like the sessions, some days would be challenging,
Mm.
but then at the same time, she would also make sure that I know that I have my good points, I have my weak points. This is what you need to work on, and the constant support. It was all her. Like I feel like I might have. I'm someone I might have lost my motivation if I didn't have like a tutor who was constantly pushing me and also was like, "You're doing great, but this is what you
Mm.
need to work on." And that constant guidance and support was from her that helped me.
That helped to pull this off very well.
Yeah.
Right, that sounds good. And I truly wish you a grand success ahead. Good to see you, Canadian citizen, very soon. First PR and then Canadian citizen, of course.
Yes.
And we wish you all the best and grand congratulations once again for your super grand success story.
Thank you so much.